Welcome to the 82nd episode of Retrotopia. My name is Brian, and I'm your host for this week's show. And of course, this week, we're going all the way to the PS3, and we're going to be talking the classic game, The Last of Us. But if you're just here for the game chat, head on down the road about 20 minutes, and you should find it. But we really hope you do stay, because it's not a long intro, and we do tend to have some fun. But before we start, let's get into this stuff we have to get out of the way first. If you want to find us on social media, you can do so at linktree/Retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/Retrotopia. There you can find our Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, a link to our Discord where you can talk with us personally or our growing community, and a link to TeePublic where we actually have some merchandise now if you want to check that out. If you don't, you can go to tpublic.com/user/Retrotopia-podcast or use the link in the description of this podcast to find the merch store. There we have t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, and so much more. We currently have 3 designs, but we're always looking to build up on that. Also, we have a Patreon. You can find the link to that at the link tree or go to patreon.com/Retrotopia, where you can get 2 more shows: Quick Play, a single host review of a game that we couldn't make a full episode out of, or that one of our members of the Hero tier selected for us to play, and Retro Bites, where you get it 15 days early or the mid-month, and it comes with an extra topic. You can also suggest topics for polls, which we run approximately every quarter, vote on said polls, comment on the games we talk about like today's game, or write into the host on the 9-bit banter box, because it's culturally elegant. And the first comment we have comes from the Big Deal, and he asks, marry, fuck, kill, Marl, Luca, or Ayla. Those are obviously 3 Chrono Trigger characters, and I think I would go for this one: marry Luca, fuck Ayla, and kill Marl. Luca's smart, she's going to bring money to pay the bills. Ayla's going to be wild because she has no inhibitions, because that shit didn't exist back in 65 million BC, and I've always said I had a distaste for Marl's. Spoiled princess, who cares? You get to be a king. That's just responsibility, and I don't want that. Especially if you know what happens to Chrono after the story of Chrono Trigger. The Big Deal further asks a question which I purposely left to this point, and it says, because fair is fair, marry, fuck, kill, Frog, Robo, Magus. Well, you're going to marry Frog because he's a loyal dude, obviously. He's going to turn back into Glenn, or maybe I just have a fetish. You never know. I'm going to fuck Robo because, let's be honest, I mean, what's the difference between that and Real Doll? And I'm going to kill Magus because I've never actually really liked him. In fact, I only get him in my party because it feels like I don't complete the game if I kill him when the appropriate time comes up. But yeah, that's my answer. Thank you very much, Big Deal. Moving on to Blaine, the Hoagie Man from the Retro Riders podcast. Check them out wherever you get your podcasts. Yes, what is a drink that you despise that if they change in a certain way, you would actually like it, and how would you change it? Well, I'd get rid of energy drinks. I would just delete them. Red Bull, Monster, anything like that, especially the ones with vodka in them. I used to drink them religiously. Like, I had duty shifts for 12 hours, and I'd grab a 4-pack, and I'd slam 4 Monsters during the duty shift, and I couldn't sleep on my 12 hours off and then do the duty shift again, which meant I needed more Monster to stay awake, and it turns into this bad thing, and I now have, like, this big distaste for them. But I'm not much of I don't drink a lot outside of my beer, coffee, and water. Those are like the 3 staples of my life. Those are the only things I really drink. I rarely drink pop. Don't drink energy drinks anymore. Don't drink juices or milk or anything like that. I just stick with what I like, and yeah. So, but yeah, there's your answer, Blaine. Getting rid of energy drinks, and that's how I would change them, just by wiping them off the face of the planet. Fun fact here, as I drink my coffee in the middle of a sentence. Fun fact, the threshold for energy drinks in Canada is lower than it is in the United States, so I think it's half or maybe 3/4 of what you're allowed in an American energy drink, so that's why I'm able to down 4 of them and not, see through time, is because we're a little bit weaker. It's a weird thing, like, you can't put that much caffeine in, but you can buy like multiple of them, so whatever, that's what it is what it is. Thanks for the question. Next goes to Guy Who Does Things, and he says, if you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what movie would it be? why? And then he followed up on his own question and says, mine would be Starship Troopers. Great movie, by the way. If you haven't seen Starship Troopers, go out and check it out. It is just fantastic. It seems like it should be so hokey and cheesy with everything that's going on, but it just hits every mark just right. It's just a beautiful movie. So I actually went through a list of movies I do like to watch over and over again. So I'll go with the list and I'll give you my ultimate answer at the end. So yeah, there's A Dark Knight, which is a great movie. Shawshank Redemption, can watch it a million times over and not get bored. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I have a kid, been watching that over and over against my will. Avengers Endgame, because that just kind of ends the best part of the Marvel Universe as of today. Joker, really liked Joaquin Phoenix's performance in that and how they kind of made the backstory and the origin story of the Joker. Truman Show, underrated title, just as is Clue is also underrated title, based on the board game, has multiple endings, definitely something worth checking out. Catch Me If You Can, Leonardo DiCaprio, he's a really good actor and I really like this movie. I don't know why I can watch it so many times, I just love it. If you're into Wes Anderson, Grand Budapest Hotel. If you're into R-rated Marvel movies, Logan is really good. And if you're into just fun movies based on Disney rides, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl is a good one. But the movie I would watch over and over and over again is obviously Groundhog Day. That is the only right answer of this, because that movie is designed to be watched over and over and over again. Because it's like it's new. I've seen it before, but it feels like the same day. Alright, thanks very much, guy who does things. Moving on to Game Genius. He asks, what non-RPG can you go back to time and time again without hesitation? My favorite genre outside of RPG is probably FPS. I would choose Fallout New Vegas or Halo the original. Neither of those would make my list. Oddly enough, I've never got on with either of them, even though Fallout is just something I should love. For some reason, it's never clicked with me. If I had to pick an answer, I'd also go first-person shooters, and that would be in the Far Cry series, because I really like Far Cry, so it's kind of a toss-up between 3 and 5, but I'm going to go with Far Cry 5, because there was a period over last year where I actually played that game 3 times in a row, front to end. And it's weird, because it has this thing in the game I absolutely hate, is where you basically get captured by the bad guys when you're brought into a bunker or something like that, and you have to escape. And I hate that sequence, because I just want the open world shooting and killing people. But still love the game. It's fantastic. That doesn't even ruin it. And it has New Dawn, which is a great game unto itself based on the world it's Far Cry 5 built. So yeah, I find first-person shooters very cathartic, just because, like, especially open world first-person shooters, because you just kind of can explore and just do what you want. All right, thanks, Game Genius. Hope that answered your question. Next up is Mr. Hooley, the old ChatGPT rapper from a couple episodes ago. So Mr. Hooley asks, Brian, if you could have any animal companion from a movie or video game as your own pet, who and what would it be? For all you Star Wars nerds, I'm going to take Chewbacca as my pet and companion, I guess. But mostly my pet. I'm not going to let him on the bed. I think it was mostly because it would make Sam and Alan jealous that I'm hanging out with Chewbacca. And also, he can introduce me to, like, R2-D2 and C-3PO, as well as get me passage on the Millennial Falcon. And like I said, he doubles as a dog, so I have something to pet. So yeah, Chewbacca's my answer. Thanks very much, Mr. Hooley. Next comes from Dave McGinnis, and he says, Hi, Brian. I miss you. I miss you too, Dave. Thanks for writing in. Fallen Snow Kiku is our second to last, our penultimate question. And she asks, Hi Brian, have you ever played Bravely Default? I meant to play it on 3DS, but foolishly sold my copy ages ago, so I'll be picking it up when I buy my Switch 2, and I can't wait to dig in. Also, if you meet someone named Brian with a Y, are you both compelled to fight to the death? I have an answer for the second one, but first, let's go Bravely Default. Never played it. It is a game I have continuously looked at, and I don't know why I just pass it over every time I see it. But it's on my list. It's definitely on my list of games to play. So I will be looking into it to see if, I have time. Like right now, my biggest problem is I don't have time. Because I actually have a list of games I have to catch up on for people I've promised I'd play games for. So that's going to be my focus. But definitely a game if you like RPGs. Check that out. If you have any questions, join our Discord and ask Fallen Snow Kiku. She seems to know a lot about the game, and she's very intelligent when it comes to this stuff. As for your second question, if I meet somebody named Brian with a Y, that's Bryan, are we both compelled to fight? Fun story, my cousin's name is Brian with a Y, and yes, we do fight. Well, we don't really fight anymore, but I always tell him that he spells his name wrong, and that's how he knows it's me, no matter where I am. That's all I have to say is you just spell your name wrong, and he'll know it's me. He was Twitch streaming with a friend of his. His friend was actually on MasterChef Canada, a really good chef, so he was Twitch streaming, and I made an account because I was waiting for a computer or something to download, I think, a game. And I was on there, and I was like, you know me, blah, 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 and it was all that stuff, and that's all I had to say was, you spell your name wrong, and he's like, oh, it's you. And yeah, fun story. Maybe more for me than for you, but there it is. But thanks, Fallen Snow Kiku. Always fun when you write in. Final question comes from Sergeant Humbre. And he says, with your surprise like of Symphony of the Night, what other games have you played that you didn't expect to like but enjoyed? I did enjoy Symphony of the Night a lot more than I was expecting to, and I got into it on the episode of why. It's how games should let you progress, let's just put it that way. But other games like that, Metroid Zero Mission took me by surprise. I'm not a big Metroid fan, not a big Castlevania fan, but Zero Mission, I got hooked. The back and forth wasn't too bad. The map was a decent size. I learned everything, and I just got addicted to it, and I finished it. Another one of our members got me to play We Love Katamari, and I kind of fell in love with that a little bit. Very simplistic gameplay, very fun, very just relaxing. It's just a really good game. And I don't want to admit this one, but Rocket Knight Adventures, I was not expecting to like that game as much as I did. Very tough, but very fair. I didn't finish it when we had Joe on the episode here, but I went to Remember the Game and I joined Adam Blank. And I took another crack at it, and I actually managed to make it to the end of the game and complete it. So I really got to experience the whole thing, and I gotta say, it's definitely a really good game. But yeah, that's gonna do it for all of our questions. Thank you everybody for writing in, and let's hurry along. So what have I been playing? Last of Us, just a refresher run. I have it on easy. I just want to remember the controls and kind of the visuals. I actually got the PS5 remake from PlayStation Plus. I like the upgrades. Actually, the game is a lot better with the upgrades. The PS3 version, it feels dated in comparison because they really did a lot to fix it up. Not that it needed a lot, but it did. So also been continuing on with Blueprints. That game just does not end. There's so much to do. I've been watching YouTube videos now on it, mostly because I'm at the point where I don't know what to do for 99% of the things. And I'm looking at some of these puzzles. Like, you have to get the perfect run to complete a puzzle, and you only have 40 to 60 steps or whatever to do it. And it is insane what they put into this game. It's incredible. It's just definitely a game I'm going to be playing. It's like Balatro, except for, with room building. Also, I've continued on with my Oblivion very casually, and I started Final Fantasy IV The After Years, and it did not take me long to remember why I did not like The After Years, but I'm going to try to push through it because I really want to just finish it again. For some reason, I guess I hate myself. And of course, I got some games I have on my board that I have to, like I said, I have to finish for People I Promise. I got a game for Danny from Retro Wars, Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku. I have Xenoblade Chronicles, which I've got to restart here. That's probably going to be the one I pick up next because it's going to be the longer one. And I believe that's it. And also, I know I was invited on Retro Riders. I just haven't had a chance to get back to them about what game to do. So maybe I'll look into that and get back to them. So if you're listening to this, Blaine, expect a phone call. All right, that's it. That's what I've been up to. It's been nice weather outside, so that's the bane of my gaming existence is when it's nice. I like to be outside. But before we go any further, we always like to give the floor to Alan so we can enjoy that sweet British voice on what we call the Gentleman's Interlude.
If you're hearing this, then maybe there's still someone out there. Maybe someone still gives a damn. My name's... oh, hell, it don't matter anymore. What matters is what we lost, and what some tried to hold on to. There was a game back before everything went to hell called The Last of Us. Funny name, right? Made by Naughty Dog. Same folks who did Uncharted. Back then, they made stories. Well, now... shit, story's all we got left. Came out on June 14th, 2013. That's when people still had electricity and digital downloads. Sony Computer Entertainment published it, only on the PlayStation 3. The world it showed was like someone looked ahead and painted a portrait of our future. Not the bombs, not the politics, the fungus, the cordyceps, the real killer. In the game you followed a man named Joel, broken, hardened, lost his kid when the outbreak hit, like a lot of us did. 20 years later he gets pulled into something big, a girl named Ellie. Immune, like actually immune. And for a minute you think, hell, maybe this is the cure. Maybe there's hope. But that's the thing with survival. It ain't clean, it ain't heroic. Joel, well, he made choices. Some people say he made the right ones, others say he made the wrong ones. Me, I think he just chose love over salvation, and I get it, man, I do. They even remastered it in 2014 for the PS4. Then again in 2022. Called The Last of Us Part 1 for the PS5. They made it prettier, shinier, but the story... that story still cuts like glass. I played it once, back when I still had a roof and a console that turned on. Now I just replay it in my head. The characters, the loss... the little moments, like Ellie and the giraffe. God, the giraffe. It weren't just a game, it was a warning about what happens when nature takes back control, about the cost of holding on to humanity in a world that's already burned it all down. If someone finds this and you're still breathing, well, look for the fireflies. Or don't. Maybe they're all gone too. Just remember Ellie. Remember Joel. And don't forget what we were before the fungus crawled into our skulls and made monsters out of men.
Thank you very much, Alan. As always, it's just the highlight of the show for me. I always love listening to that. You do a fantastic job. And now before we get into the game, some of you wrote in, actually quite a bit of you wrote in, because Last of Us, believe it or not, is a very popular game. So let's go through that, and then we'll throw some music on, and then we'll get into the game chat. So first up is Randy Barrett. She says, one of my all-time favorite games. It was actually a bit of a slow burn for me, where outside of an emotional start, it took me a bit to get into the story they were trying to tell. Once Henry and Sam entered the picture, I was hooked and didn't look back. I fully bought into the lone wolf and cub story with the post-apocalyptic backdrop. The winter chapter is my favorite section in all of gaming, and the conclusion left me emotionally exhausted. The gameplay doesn't do anything special, but it was competent and interesting enough to keep me engaged as the story played out. The Big Deal says, I just played this game for the first time last year, and I get it. While I found some parts of the game frustrating, like the scarcity of resources and the need to preserve ammunition at all costs, especially early on in the game, I can appreciate the fact that it's more realistic than magically fitting dozens of arrows or bombs into your pockets. The story is the absolute selling point, and HBO knocked it out of the park with their series adaptation. I still gotta play that. Blaine the Hoagie Man says, as Good A member of our community, by the way, as Good A would say, those damn clickers. And you got to check out a Good A three-word review, straight to the point. Mr. Hooley, he says, while this game did give me anxiety more than once, especially that first time dealing with the damn clickers, but it's a fucking beautiful game on multiple levels. Gruesomely beautiful, and I love it for that. Moving on to Chris Copland from the Retro Hangover, he says, I didn't get the universal love and acclaim for this game at all. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. It's a good game with a decent enough plot, but it feels like a game that was made for people who like movies more than games. There are other games that do this, like Metal Gear Solid, but I feel those games have better gameplay mechanics while simultaneously not taking themselves too seriously 100% of the time. The story is decent, but it's not spectacular, and is better represented as a TV series it became. It never felt like it fully embraced the fact that it was a video game at any point. Finally, we have Fallen Snow Kiku, who says, this used to be one of my favorite games, then I reevaluated it when the sequel came out and, well, wasn't. I think it's still a good game, but it's been done much better before and since. It's still an okay game at heart with a great and touching story. Thank you very much, everybody, for writing in. Those are great takes on the game. We're going to get into our take now, so as I start the music here, I want to thank everyone who wrote in. It's always fun to hear your thoughts. Thanks for sticking around for the intro. So now with a little music to create a transition, we're going to be talking about The Last of Us, developed by Naughty Dog, published by Sony Computer Entertainment, released on 14th of June 2014 for the PlayStation 3. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show. We are back now with The Last of Us, and of course you have to have Sam and Alan on a show like this, because why would you not bring Sam and Alan into a show about a game that they both love very much? Sam, Alan, how about we start out with your history of the game? Sam, how about you? Let's go with you first today.
I'm still laughing from the After Dark. I'm sorry.
I know. That's why
I was holding it.
I was
holding it in.
You're gonna throw it to me, and I'm just gonna be like, ah! Okay. Yes, Last of Us. I didn't play this because I didn't have a PS3, and then also didn't have a PS4.
Nerd.
I know, but I have since rectified my not having ever played The Last. I've never played The Last of Us, and I actually watched the first season of the show before I played the game, which is probably also sacrilege. And then when I did finally play the game, I played the remake version, which is probably also sacrilege on top of sacrilege. But I really enjoyed it, so I mean, it's a great game, and I really like it. So don't come at me.
Don't come at me, come on me. Alan, what's your thoughts on the game?
Well, I mean, I was also late to the party on the Last of Us, because I also was Team Xbox 360 back in the day, and it wasn't until it was one of our cousins who, I guess he upgraded his PS4 to like a Pro and decided to just gift us his old PlayStation 4, and it was either him or his brother. I can't remember. I'm not going to name names. But he lent us the PlayStation 4, I guess, remastered version of The Last of Us, which was the first time that I played it. So by now, like, you know, I didn't get in on all the hype to begin with. But I was just like, yeah, neat. Okay, it's a zombie game. I love zombie games, you know. Historically, some of my favourite games. So I was just like, yeah, I'll give this a spin, see what all the fuss is about. And, you know, I ended up really, really enjoying it. You know, I have my thoughts as to whether or not this game and I'm going to tread carefully, lived up to the hype at the time. But then, yeah, just recently I decided to go back and play it on the PS3 just to see how it sort of compared. And I've got to tell you, I don't understand how this game has so many remakes and remasters, because playing it on the PS3, it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Like, a lot of the work was already done for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Brian, did you play the remaster, the remake? Like, there's a...
I was about to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I just... I killed my train of thought.
I'm
sorry. Yuck.
Oh, no!
Anyways. No. First time I played this game was last year, and I played it because a friend of mine, we made a deal. I would play his favorite game, he would play my favorite game. So I played The Last of Us, and he had to play Final Fantasy VI. Now, I completed The Last of Us. He never completed Final Fantasy VI, but he gave it the old sailor's try, so I'm counting it there because it's definitely a series he's not into. And for me, even though I loved Uncharted 2, I had not played an Uncharted, or actually I have not played a Naughty Dog game since. And it's a crying shame because I really, really, really liked Uncharted 2, and I couldn't motivate myself to play that type of story-heavy game again. So playing through this, I like the story a lot. I'm not big on the game itself, though. Like, I don't hate the game. The game is perfectly fine. It delivered everything I expected and more. Graphically, the game is beautiful. We'll get into that. The story-wise, I believe it really nailed a good, strong, emotional story that lasted throughout the entire game. Like, there was really no slow spots in it. But I don't know. I don't get how this game got as much hype as it did. It has to be based on the story because without that story, the gameplay just doesn't hold up to me. That's my opinion.
You see, now some might think that's a hot take, but you know, I'm gonna get on side with Brian. I'm gonna support you, buddy, because like, it's a perfectly good game. Like, it is a very, very, very good game, but gameplay wise, I don't know necessarily that it does anything special. Certainly if you are more familiar with the Uncharted games and things like that, but I think you nailed it, that what this game does so well is just craft a world and tell a story that just really just grips you by the balls the entire way through.
Yeah, and one thing I love about this story, and it's probably one of the best examples I'd ever pick for telling somebody storytelling and gameplay, is how it grabs you right from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of games spend way too long setting up the reason the main character is going on his quest or his adventure. This game actually develops the character in like the first 15-20 minutes.
Don't
you understand,
don't make me relive
you
it.
Understand you understand this character's motivations perfectly. Why is he so grumpy? Why is he given up? Why is he at the bottom of his life? He just doesn't care anymore. You know, the game does a 20-year time jump.
Mm-hmm.
And you Joel, the main character, is the one you're playing as, and you take control of him, and he's just an alcoholic who's a smuggler. He doesn't really do that much, and it's how they set it up, how they started the game with his daughter Sarah. And yes, I'm going to make you relive it because this is the beginning of the game. How you start with her, and you know, they've give you this girl right away. She gives her dad a watch for his birthday, even though he's like tired and stuff, and you can see the dynamic of this family. He loves her very much. And then, you know, the clickers, or whatever you want to call it, this virus happens, and they're rushing out of town. And for the whole beginning of the first time I played this, it's like, well, they're going to make it out. And it's like, I just don't know who this girl is. Obviously, I knew enough about the story, so I just didn't know why she wasn't there. So I was like, this is going to be let's go save my daughter type of story. Well, no, it does not turn into that, right?
Right.
It is
no, not at all.
That moment where he is confronted by the soldier, and it's that I'm going to follow orders no matter what evil sometimes the American military is represented as. And that soldier shoots at Joel and hits his daughter Sarah, and she dies.
Ugh.
And his entire character in that moment is developed. Like, this loving father who works hard for his family is broken. And that's what hooked me in the story right away. And that's good storytelling, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's the dog crawl to John Wick moment. Why I
don't mention
empathize with John Wick, right?
But Brian is just out here just like firing shots.
Yeah, I know. I gotta jump in here because I think like yes.
Oh, by the way, spoiler warning: if you didn't want that spoiled, put a Q-tip in your ear and reset back about 30 seconds.
That's the first like 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, but don't make sure you don't forget math or anything. Like don't go too crazy. So I have to add like that opening scene is incredibly harrowing, but I think it's less like the military being right away like brutal, and I think it's more fear. Because if you think about it, and I mean, Brian, you're the only one among us with military experience, but you know, I can only imagine that if you're deployed, and these might not be like, you know, rank and file military men, these might be like National Guardsmen that are like deployed at a moment's notice. Like these guys got to be scared too, because you're seeing something unfold that is unprecedented and absolutely fucking batshit crazy. You not only have the possibility that people are infected with whatever this virus is, which at the time is completely unknown, like they don't understand what's going on, but there's also like probably your opportunists or people that are going to loot, and you know, like chaos just erupts, and you know, it's like you or me, and I've got a gun. It's like it's more of a fear reaction, I think, and that's why it's like so unfortunate.
But that's also another great way to develop the plot early on. You don't hate this soldier, you hate the army. Mm-hmm. You hate the entity, and that's what they're portraying, is the entity is your oppressor. So it's twofold. Like, you develop Joel's character, and you also develop this enemy, so to speak, at the very beginning, the people who oppress you, and that comes into play right away in the game because you are in these quarantine zones and it's being controlled by the military. So they very much are your oppressors. So you're very right about the military thing. Some young kid is probably not going to know what's going on.
Oh, man.
He's just going to see zombies running at him, and like let's be honest, everybody has a plan if the zombie shows up. My plan is just to join them because it's quicker.
Yeah, but I'm not surviving. Sorry.
That pretty much. But no, the whole intro of this game is just literally designed to set up the world, and in 15-20 minutes it's done so well.
Absolutely, while also establishing like the confusion that comes along with this, because I love the implication at the start here that this is not necessarily something that's literally just started, you know, because this level of fear that you're seeing only comes from a certain level of experience of what's going on. The implication here being, of course, that this is like a wave that has just hit here. And I love that in any sort of media involving zombies or what have you, don't show me the cause of the outbreak from ground zero.
No.
Like, let it have happened somewhere, and it's just getting here now. Because that confusion and that not knowing what's going on is such a powerful storytelling technique that sort of like, it throws you from, it's just this horrific lurch from a nice, normal, comfortable life to just all of a sudden, this entire new world order is established and society has just collapsed, and it's just magnificent. Well, and it's so... Go on.
I'm just going to spoil it for you. All new viruses are usually Canadian flight attendants fucking monkeys. Ever since AIDS.
Jesus Christ. Duly noted. But no, I've got to say, the first time I played this game, you know, I was bang into the zombie thing, and, you know, I was really enjoying it. The second time, because this is only my second ever playthrough of this game, and now I have a kid, and oh my God, did that intro just I could feel my heart beating because I knew what was going to come, and it basically just in an instant just says, guys, you know, this is not an Uncharted, this is not quips, this is not death-defying stunts, this is real, and it's going to be ugly.
Yeah, honestly, like, I can only say that it is a great way to start a video game. As sad as it sounds to have somebody die, Um, it set the way they did it set everything up. You knew everything you needed to know, and everything else was left a mystery, like the origin of the virus and all that.
Yep.
That let you, discover that as you progress through the story. Um, Moving on to 20 years down the road, that's when the game actually starts. So after Joel loses his daughter, his brother saves his life by killing the soldier. We flash forward 20 years into the Boston quarantine zone. Joel is a little bit older, obviously 20 years, I'd say, by the date I just gave. But he's now a smuggler. The world is post-apocalyptic. For some reason, this is something I don't get about post-apocalyptic worlds. Enough people have survived. You have to have at least one or two engineers out there who could build power dams or power spots within the city. What happened to solar panels or wind power? Anyways, that's an argument for a different day. Shit I think about when I play post-apocalyptic games.
Yeah, like we'd figure something out.
So anyways,
like generators. Well, there's generators and
yeah, but I mean,
like long-term
have
sustainable
enough
power.
Anyways, yeah, we have enough power, like technology nowadays. We could do it. That's neither here nor there. Anyways, he also introduced to Test, his partner, who she and Joel end up going to find their guns from the what was that faction?
Fireflies.
I can't remember. Some dude.
I can't think of the douchebag.
Is it the Fireflies? No. The Fireflies, who they have to go look at later for later. But this was their guns were stolen by this guy, and they have to go retrieve their guns.
Right. Yeah.
This is your introduction to the gameplay, your tutorial section, if you may, as it kind of fills you in on the details of the last 20 years as you walk through the town. It's like, oh, look at that. There's a checkpoint. We're going to go outside the gate today. And it's, again, it's a great way to start you into the game. It goes through everything like crawling through tunnels, the spores, finding stuff, how to use weapons, how to avoid, the clickers that you can't make noise around.
Ugh, yeah.
Well, that's just it.
All
No,
that stuff.
that's something that I actually wanted to bring up, because that, as far as I know, for the most part of that entire opening sequence, you are literally just dealing with human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And this game is so incredibly well paced that you don't actually see one of the infected until quite a ways in. And I think that does a wonderful job of building up suspense and just like, well, when's it going to happen? So that was
Right.
we're talking about things that hooked us in.
Yeah, I really
I just found
appreciated.
that
I really appreciated that it was basically like if you were to hand this to me in around 2013 when it came out, right? 2013 or so.
Give or take.
Yeah, I probably would have been like, it's more zombie bullshit. Like Walking Dead was in full swing. We had all kinds of, zombie TV shows, zombie books, zombie movies,
everywhere.
I was feeling kind of zombied out. So like I don't even know if I would have engaged in this, and unfortunately that would have been to my own detriment because it's like this is a really well-crafted story. It's not like you're jumping into this zombie-themed video game and it's not like a Left 4 Dead clone. You're not just fighting waves and waves of zombies. As fun as that is, you wouldn't want another game that does exactly that. So there's a lot of nuance to this.
Oh, yeah.
What's really good about this as well is you don't meet Ellie right away, and that gives you time to really marinate on Joel and learn about him and kind of connect with him and, feel his pain of 20 years of nothing to live for. But it's just more of the introduction to the story, but they don't just jump right into it. They build it up, and then you run into Ellie, who joins you, and it's a contentious relationship at first. So now you're not only... you're empathetic to Joel, who doesn't want to take care of another little girl because, he lost his own. At the same time, you have Ellie, who you're now learning about, and they're unraveling her story a few beats behind where you're at with Joel. It's just, so well done.
Yeah.
Always something to learn.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just so organically done as well. Like I said, the first time you actually even see one of the infected, it's not this big, like, Resident Evil da-da-da-da moment. It's just like, it just happens, just like it would in real life. There's no fanfare, it's just there. And I like what you said about getting to know Joel as well, because this guy is just like, you kind of have him figured out right away, because we all know the story, person who's lost someone, they loved, they lost, and now they're never going to let themselves become vulnerable again. It's an age-old story. It's just like, it's, again, told so organically that it's just like, right, okay, I think I've got this guy figured out. Let's see where this goes at this point.
Yeah. And you're not even at the call to adventure and the hero's journey at this point either. You're still like at that because he has no reason. His whole job is to be a smuggler, go home, have sex, and drink himself to sleep, and then repeat until he dies, right?
Basically.
And then, yeah. So you go with Tess. You run into I can't remember the name of the girl who's with Ellie, but she's like, you got to get her to the Fireflies, and you're like, yeah, I guess so. Why not? I mean, it makes for a great game. So you start taking Ellie, and then, God, just not long before, well, not long after you meet Ellie, she starts connecting a little bit with Tess, and you're still, like, Joel is still a bit kind of apprehensive to, connect with Ellie, and then Tess dies, now leaving Joel alone with Ellie, and now you have to build this relationship of two people where they both lost, somebody. Like, Joel knew Tess pretty well, and it's another person he's lost in his life.
Right.
All for this girl he didn't want anything to do with.
I really like Joel and Tess's, and we only get to spend a little bit of time with Tess, but that dynamic is really interesting because you can tell that they both maybe either care deeply about each other or have the potential to, but you can tell that they're holding back or they're not vocalizing certainly what they're feeling for each other, because they're both obviously afraid like either one of them could die at any time, and they don't want to deal with that.
Well, they're obviously both deeply wounded people, and it shows. Again, it's just like, you don't I don't need to know Tess's backstory, because I kind of already know it. It's kind of everyone's backstory, right?
Yeah.
And it just makes sense. It's just like, and yeah, they do play off each other really, really well. I have to wonder, I mean, obviously this is going to be a very spoiler-filled episode.
Yeah, and I want to bring that up to anybody listening right now. If you haven't played the game yet, we've gotten into a first, maybe 3-4 hours of the game. There's still plenty of story. If you're already kind of interested in what we've been talking about, stop the episode, go play the game, come back and finish off the episode later. It's definitely worth a playthrough if you really like the storytelling aspect of video games.
But it's impossible. It's impossible to talk about this game without just going all in.
We're going beat by beat. We're going to go through all the different parts. Probably not spoil the ending, but we definitely will talk about the different scenarios that happen over the course up to the ending. Actually, we might spoil the ending.
I think we have to. I think we have to discuss
talk about it
and the ramifications.
I think enough people. It's 2013. Enough people have played this game. It's been released enough times. All right, so
besides the fact that a lot of people have watched the show.
Yeah,
that's true. I haven't watched the show yet.
Really?
I still got it.
Me neither.
But
I haven't seen it.
Good. You haven't either?
Yeah, but
nope.
What the fuck?
Let's talk about what's this Nick Offerman there. Let's talk about Bill.
Oh, Mr. I've never seen the show, and then immediately is like, oh yeah, let's talk about Nick Offerman.
I know who starred in the show. I know where Nick Offerman is at all times.
Yeah.
I love the man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
he is our example of what a man is.
He's a patron saint of manlyhood.
I was trying to do a segue here, and you just like pissed all over.
I'm glad
me.
to have torpedoed your segue.
Your fucking urinal. Yeah. Anyways, so Bill, he's the next main character you meet, and Bill is a survivalist who's in the middle of, I don't know, I think Boston or something like that, or just outside of the quarantine zone anyways, and you have to make it through his booby traps before you run into him. And this has some really good scenes in it. I really like this, and this kind of sets up moments for Joel and Ellie to rely on each other.
Yeah, this
especially near the end.
This is my favorite part of the game, I think. Going through these decayed and destroyed neighborhoods, just kind of going house to house, and you're either fighting off infected, or I think there's some sections where there's some human marauders that are working their way through. And so there's like a really good mix of, because you're tactically, like you can't fight the infected the same way that you fight the humans. The infected you can
No.
kind of distract, or you can kind of outthink them a little bit more, and the humans are actually the tougher enemies of all of the enemies. I think it's harder to deal with a group of, humans or soldiers or, whoever. So I think this part is awesome, and there's so much stuff to like go into different like like all the houses. I don't know if Alan you can attest to like the PS3 version, but especially in the remake, like these houses are incredibly detailed. Like you can go into the rooms and you can obviously pick up different items for crafting and whatnot, but like
Do you know what? Yes.
rooms are set up and there's shit in there, and like people have obviously lived in these places. It's incredible.
Yeah, I can attest to that, Sam, because while I was playing this game and going through these houses and looking for supplies and what have you, I was hit with a palpable sense of sadness just going through these houses. And I think that's because of what you said. It's just, it does feel so real. They do feel so lived in. And you do, to some extent, just think about, like, okay, well, who lived here? And, you see, like, people's bedrooms, kids' bedrooms, like, stuff that's been left out in the panic. And you're just like, it's a level of detail and world crafting that just makes the game just feels so much more real.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard not to take the time to explore around and just kind of take it all in, especially with the well, I know I was mentioning like, oh, wired post-apocalyptic worlds like this, but this is the best part of a post-apocalyptic world design is there is if you look online, you'll find 1,000 videos that say after a certain amount of time, plants are just going to take the planet back, and that's what's happening here. Is buildings are starting to crumble and plants are starting to take over again, and it really adds to the aesthetic. Like, how long have these people been gone? I don't know if it's been 20 years or they left last week. It's just enough to know that they've been gone a while, but everything's still fresh enough that it's like you can't really put a pin on it exactly when they left.
And
I
that as well. Sorry, Sam. I was just saying,
go ahead.
you talking about the plants and the crumbled buildings. I mean, it gives the game natural boundaries as well, because this game is, within reason, quite linear, but it's, again, you're kind of naturally hemmed into certain areas because of the damage, because of the destruction, and it never feels like, when you get those
using the environment to create the box.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I was wondering, like,
we haven't talked about.
No, go ahead.
I'm just going to say we haven't talked about Bill himself yet.
Oh, yeah.
Any thoughts on him as a character in the game? Like, he's the eccentric, friend of Joel there, and when Joel shows up, he's just immediately like pulling out weapons and stuff.
I mean, are they friends though? I don't think they are.
Frenemies.
Definitely frenemies, because I think
friendly enough not to kill each other, enemies enough not to get in each other's way.
I think story-wise, Joel is introduced to Bill through Tess, and so that's why he kind of, I don't know if you want to say like begrudgingly accepts him or whatever, but like, and maybe I'm pulling like my recollection of The Last of Us might be pulling equal parts from like the TV show and the game, but like I was under the impression that even in both situations, both the show and in the game, like these guys are not, they're kind of begrudging allies. They're not really necessarily fans of each other.
No.
Yeah, and it's kind of a good way to start a relationship. For this game. You need somebody that's helping them, but also somebody that both Joel and Ellie can, I guess, agree to dislike. So it's a good mechanism. Like, honestly, it's the beginning of the transformation, part of the hero's journey. So, both of them are starting to connect on things, and their first connection is their dislike of Bill, even though he's like a useful non-ally, I guess.
Well, he doesn't trust them for sure.
No, and they don't trust Bill.
Right.
It's a partnership of convenience, and
Yes.
that's kind of
exactly.
That's kind of the standard for this world. It's just like, as long as you're useful, like nobody is going to be friends just for the sake of friendship in this post-apocalyptic world. It's just, as long as you are useful, I will tolerate you. But everyone is a potential threat, and Bill is the kind of character that I can sort of see even before the downfall of society. Is that Bill strikes me as one of those characters who maybe was a bit off the grid, a bit, suspicious of government, suspicious of, a bit of a conspiracy theorist. Maybe he just gives off that certain air that he was maybe more prepared for this, or something similar, even before it happened. He's kind of guy who'd probably have like an underground bunker, just in case.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to bring up a point now, a little bit controversial. Not really controversial, in my opinion, but created some controversy around the TV show. And this is actually how I knew Nick Offerman played Bill, is the fact that he is gay in the game. And this game has, like, a lot of LGBT overtones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not hiding it. And good on them, because you don't hide this shit. But I just remember, like, I wasn't watching the show, but I spend a lot of time on the internet when I'm trying to avoid working, and it was all over the place. Groups were like panning this game and the show, and there was just flipping out at Bill, and it's just, this game does it so well because they just make it normal.
Yeah, it's not called out, or it doesn't look like it's forced at any point, and it's just a part of
and
the fabric
how many
of
times
life.
media will like. You've heard the term TV gay. Like, if you look at Modern Family and you got Cam, he's overly flamboyant, right? He's TV gay.
Stereotype,
but this is one of those things where, like, I've never met in my life a gay person or a gay man who has acted like TV gay.
Right.
Unless they never introduced me to their husbands or whatever, I never would have known. Like, I would never have asked.
One is always TV gay. One person in a gay couple is always TV gay, and then the other one is not.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Well, anyways, my point is that they don't sit there and focus on it. It's just Bill who he is. He doesn't shy away from it. He talks about it, but it's not like, I got to go save my gay husband now. No, it's just Bill. He's crazy, and he talks about losing his husband and stuff like that. It's just,
Well, that's just it.
I love when media does that. They add it without making it the focal point of a character.
Exactly, and it doesn't even really specify, the relationship between these two guys. All that we know at this point is that he had somebody with him, and that person, they've had a disagreement, and he's left. And there's something about Bill's anger about this entire situation that obviously comes from a place of hurt. It's like, he is very pissed off, and I can't think of the other guy's name, but he is very, very...
Neither can I.
I know. He's very, very, like, pissed off and angry, but when they find him, just like, even though he doesn't let on, there's just a shift of just, like, resignation and, like, kind of hopelessness in Bill's character. That's just, if you haven't figured it out by that point, you're like, oh, okay,
But think
I get
about
what this
it.
is.
Think about the parallels between him and Joel. And Frank's the name, by the way. I just looked it up.
Yeah, Frank, and he was infected and had to hang himself so that he didn't become infected. That was the deal.
But think of the parallels between Bill and Joel. They're both angry because they've lost somebody important to them, and they've handled it in two very different ways. Joel collapsed into himself, and Bill became an eccentric, wanting his vengeance.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's just definitely two sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah, I suppose you could look at it like that. Yeah.
But let's move on. They move to Pittsburgh next. Everybody wants to be in Pittsburgh. If you haven't been to Pittsburgh there, they have some Penguins, I hear. A hockey joke for you. Anyways, as they go to Pittsburgh, they're ambushed by some hunters. And throughout this journey, or part of the journey, they run into two characters. And I thought this was the most impactful part of this game. Maybe I'll recant that statement as we reminisce about it. But Henry and Sam, the two black guys, the brothers, they meet up with them. They become kind of one of those let's do a puzzle, but we'll flip this switch on this side of the building, you flip that switch, and blah blah blah. I really liked that. I really thought that they would actually stay a lot longer and maybe depart for a brief moment, and they would come back near the end of the game and have like this big let's get together moment and build community. But what happened to them? Holy fuck.
Yeah,
I do
right
like
as well.
I do like their addition when you're I think you're going through some sewers and some city streets and stuff. And yeah, like I like the addition of additional people, because sometimes you're thinking like, okay, if it's just Joel and Ellie the whole time making their way across the country, I think some of that gets to be a little bit far-fetched. Like, you're going to get stuck so much easier somewhere that you're not going to be able to pass through if you don't have some extra people to help you through. And I think that's kind of cool that they encounter people like Bill, like Henry and Sam, that kind of give them a little bit of extra help along the way, even if they don't want to.
And what we kind of just breezed over there is the reason that this group has been thrown together, because you meet up with these two guys while you're on the run from those hunters that we mentioned earlier on, and these guys are real pieces of shit. I mean, they are literally sort of killing people and just taking their shit and just waylaying them on the side. They're highwaymen, essentially. So you meet up with I'm sorry, what were their names again?
Henry and Sam, I think.
Henry and Sam.
Yeah.
Henry and Sam. Okay, and they are a part of a larger group that's come a cropper of these hunters as well. So again, it's that convenience, that partnership out of convenience. It's just like, okay, I don't know that you're not part of this group, but for sake of argument, what choice have we got? So we'll go along with you and sort of try. And the whole time you are dogged by these hunters and that fucking armored patrol vehicle, which is just a beast.
God, man, and it's so laser accurate. Like, even just like peeking around the corner to check where it is, and you get popped by it. It's like, Jesus. Like, I was so jumpy during that part, because every time I was like, "Where's that fucking thing?" And it's like, it's a truck. I should know where the hell it is.
And not only that, because there are people on foot as well wandering around. So you've got to sneak around this giant vehicle while keeping an eye out for people just on the ground.
That's a very tough part of the game.
It is, but it's so good. Like, I really enjoyed that part of the game. As tough as it was at times, like, I really enjoyed it.
I think the part that I got stuck the most, and this might be a little bit after, but I think it's either still in Pittsburgh, or it's in I think you make your way a little bit further west and you're in like maybe Kansas City or something. There's like a bookstore that's full of these raider guys, and you have to kind of like make your way kind of through a checkpoint and up into this. It looks like a Barnes and Noble actually, but like, holy fuck, that part is tough. Like I said, these humans that you have to fight are way harder than most of the infected that you're going to encounter.
100%. Yeah, I know exactly the building that you're talking about.
Oh yeah,
that's an area that I remembered this playthrough. Like, because there are certain areas that I just like, I know are coming and I dread. Like, most of this game I didn't remember from my first playthrough, but as soon as I saw that building, I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, like, can we just go around?
All right. Yeah. Let's kind of yada through the next bits here, because we're doing our old habit of like going over the entire story beat for beat. But the next few parts, I was kind of reading ahead of my notes, and they're I would call them more minor parts up until it leads to the major shift in the game. And that's when you meet Tommy in Wyoming and the Fireflies, and then you head to the University of Eastern Colorado. Both of these have like time skips with them, which is another thing I love about this game. Is it's not you're at the next location the next day. It actually, like, the seasons change.
I do like that.
Yeah, you meet up with Tommy at the dam there. They're trying to get it to work, and this is kind of a moment where Joel is like, you've made it to the Fireflies, and this is it. I'm done. I'm going to take off." But eventually, shit happens, and he has to take Ellie further forward. And they get to the University of Colorado, and they find out that the lab they're looking for is abandoned. And throughout this, their thought is, let's just go back to the dam and let's live out our lives there with Tommy. Well, in the course of that, Joel gets badly injured, and the game takes a major
Oh
shift
yeah.
where Ellie has to take her to a place, like I think she finds a resort area, and she gets Joel into a house, but he's done so for. He's like near death because he had a piece of rebarb through the stomach. And you take control of Ellie at this point, and
Oh.
this is one of the, I guess, probably the best parts of the story, because now you're taking control of somebody completely different. Somebody has no power. There's no melee in this unless you have yourself a big ass weapon. You meet David and the Cannibals,
Yeah.
which is a great band for the 70s.
David and the Cannibals. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, and I don't think we've even mentioned why they're on this journey, which is, I think, a part that makes this shift
totally
so important.
That.
So, Ellie is immune to the cordyceps virus.
Yes, she is.
So they are taking her across country to the Fireflies, who can maybe synthesize a vaccine and thus save humanity. So when Joel is basically out of commission and you take over as Ellie, that risk feels so much grander, because she could get herself killed, and then where does that leave the rest of humanity?
Yeah, and it's also at this point, too, that the DLC takes place. You can play that before you start this part of the adventure, and it gives Ellie's backstory.
I did not, because playing it on PS3, I just couldn't get hold of the DLC.
Man, that DLC is tough.
Is it? I mean, this whole section of the game is fucking tough.
Oh yeah, it's just.
Oh, this game is parts insane.
Oh yeah, and I thought the DLC was harder than the resort, where you're in the mall as Ellie.
I never actually played the DLC. I just kind of read up that it was her backstory, so I don't know what's going on in that. But like this part of the resort area, when you are trying to sneak away after getting off the table of them trying to cut you apart to make Ellie stew, you have to sneak out of town because she's not very strong, so she has to get out of there without being seen. Right. And there was one point, I think it was right before you get to the bar, where you have that big fight. And I could not do it. If somebody would see me and I'd run around, I'd have to try to defend myself because I couldn't figure out where I was supposed to go. And I probably spent the longest amount of time of the game doing this one part. And I wanted to finish it, so I didn't just drop the game like I wanted to. And I finally got lucky one time, and I managed to kill all the enemies that were chasing me with a minimal amount of ammo left, and I was able to actually take my time and explore and look around and find that door, which was right in front of me, even though I decided that was the one door I wouldn't try.
Yeah, I mean, I hate this part of the game, and when I say that, I want to make it clear that I think it is wonderfully effective for the story. It had to happen, but I genuinely fear this part of the game. And realistically, there is a difference subtly in how Ellie plays, but you still have access to weapons and all the rest of it, but you somehow feel more vulnerable. I mean, the game doesn't change it up all that much, but you somehow feel smaller and more vulnerable. And yeah, it's just... And oh my god, we didn't even talk about when you're with this cannibal David or whatever, and you are just facing waves and waves of these infected in that... Is it like a lumber mill or something? I don't know, but it's just absolutely brutal, and I cannot be convinced that this winter section is not the final boss of the entire game.
I would argue, no, not argue, I'd actually agree with you, because the next part of the game, while it is the final quote unquote boss of the game, you're right. This is the part that really feels like there's something to lose.
Yeah,
There's something
Brian.
so gravely on the line. Ellie dies, Joel dies.
Brian,
that
was so beautifully put. This is the part where you feel like you have something to lose.
It's just it is like Ellie dies, Joel dies. You go through this, you get caught. You never know what Joel's condition is throughout this until near the end when he wakes up, because Ellie did manage to heal him, and he gets plot powers and he's able to come back and be strong as ever, even though he had a rebarb through his guts.
Plot powers.
So it's
some of it's far-fetched, like a 14-year-old girl finding antibiotic to inject and then like sewing him up and stuff. Like, no, he'd be done for sure.
Yeah.
Sure, but
no, but anyways, this very impactful part. But once you get through this, and I want to be a little more vague as we get to these parts, because let's not ruin it all for them. Let's just talk about the greatest parts, and then that way they can experience a lesser.
I'll tell you about the not greatest
after you're
part.
Done this,
I can't fucking stand the part where you have to hunt that deer. When you first play as Ellie, it took me so long to find the spot. That deer was so sensitive. It was just like, can we just... I wish I could have skipped it. Because I was like, I know what this is. We're going to shoot this deer, and then, we're going to encounter some other people or whatever. But, like, can we please just, like... Oh, God. I must have tracked that thing for, like, an hour.
Skip button.
No, yeah, I want the skip button for that. I think I must have tracked that around in circles for like a fucking hour. And then I finally
Jesus.
And then I think I finally figured out a way to like get it to where I could hit it in the heel or something like that. Like I glanced it and then it triggered the next part of the game, but I was like, fucking finally.
I think you'd have had better luck looking for an open McDonald's at that point.
Yeah, I'd be like, all right, screw this. Like, let me just go see if something's open.
I know we're keeping it vague, but I'm guessing, Brian, you want to avoid what happens in the restaurant or whatever, and fine.
Yeah.
But I will say that is the part of the game that I dread the absolute most. And
that is like a hell of a moment.
Oh, that is the final boss of the game.
That, like I said, you feel like you had something to lose in this part of the game. That moment, you can feel fear.
Yeah, no, and I do.
Video games generally don't make me feel uncomfortable as I play them, because I can disconnect reality and just get through it all. Like I don't get affected by horror movies because my brain doesn't try to pretend that stuff actually happens. But in this game, because of the way it is, you're going around this restaurant and shit's happening. Fires are starting and it's closing in on you, and the claustrophobia starts kicking in.
Yeah, and just you are the hunted, and it's awful.
Oh, for sure.
But moving on to let's just wrap up the ending here, because after all this happens, Joel and Ellie reunite, and you finally make to the last journey to Salt Lake City, where the Firefly Hospital is, and that's where Tommy was sending you. And when you get to the Firefly Hospital, you finally run into some of the Fireflies, and you get the old butt of the gun to the head and knocks Joel out. And they take Ellie and Joel, and they separate them, and you wake up in a hospital bed with I think somebody Joel knows, if I remember correctly.
It's
just telling you
it's Marlene
from
isn't
the
it,
from the start of the game.
Yeah,
I'm sure her name's Marlene.
Oh, Marlene.
Yeah, Marlene, that's the name.
But yes, the one from Final Fantasy VII, all grown up.
Yes.
But anyways, you wake up in the hospital room, and Marlene tells you, just get the fuck out of here. Oh, actually, I have the name written down.
Yeah,
and
your job is done.
Joel's like, where's Ellie? And they're like, oh, yeah, she's upstairs. We're going to drain her blood and cut her up for, organ harvesting and smoothies. So Joel decides at that moment, this is the moment he decides that he will do anything for Ellie. Ellie has become effectively Sarah to Joel. And he just wreaks havoc. And your last mission is to save Ellie in this hospital by kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a sneaking mission, but I killed everybody.
Oh,
I was going to say, I did zero fucking sneaking whatsoever. So yeah, you know, they have to.
I took out as many of them as I could stealthily, and then at the end I found a machine gun, and I was just like, AR-15.
There you go.
That's the American staple. Bah, 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 bah.
I would say that if the winter section was the most, I guess, physically difficult part of the game, this last section is absolutely emotionally the most draining part of the game. Because yeah, you know, Joel finds out that in order to get the vaccine, they need to take basically the fungus that is wrapped around her brain and use that, and that is inevitably going to kill her. And yeah, Joel's having fucking none of it, and frankly, neither am I. So we go on this rampage together through the hospital, and it just... the implications of your actions are horrifying. Because at this point, you are the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not listening to Spock on this one.
Oh, no. And do you know, and I've got to, you know, we're in deep spoiler territory now, guys. And, you know, if you don't want to know, you don't want to know.
You know
but I've got stuff...
Yeah, jump about 10 minutes ahead and you'll miss out on the ending spoiler.
Because I've got stuff to say about how this plays out. Because you get to the operating room where Ellie is being prepped for surgery, and what this game does, and what those bastards at Naughty Dog do, is not greet you with a cutscene where you've made it to this room and Joel has to burst in, save Ellie, you know, gun down the doctors and what have you, and you make your grand escape. No, what they do is they make you play it. And to that, you go into the room, gun drawn, these doctors are cowering and begging for their lives, and you, the player, actually have to actively take the shots and kill all of them to save Ellie. And that is so fucking gut-wrenchingly powerful. Like, I've been thinking about this for days, because the fact that they make you make that decision rather than let it play out for you really lands for me.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And when you get to the elevator and you go down to the parking garage and you meet Marlene again, and you know, it's that moment, it's like, I can't let you take her, Joel, and then he just, you know, puts a bullet in her gut and wastes her and then drives off, and then tells Ellie that, you know, they found plenty of people, they don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
The big lie.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was a great ending to the game. I was like, I didn't actually think about it, that you become the villain at the end. That is a great way to say that, because you're right.
This is the top game. This is the top game where you play the villain.
Yeah, very morally ambiguous what he does. I mean, like, go on, Brian. But I've got some ideas here.
Yeah, I'm just wrap up real quickly. My thought here is, you know, in one hand, is it moral to kill one person, to, you know, make a cure slushy, or is it wrong not to kill the person to save the bigger, like, world? People are in quarantine zones. You know, life is living. Eventually, the human race, what we're known for is wiping out species, and they'll wipe out this virus. I mean, we beat COVID. Not really. But it's just the moral question. Like, what side of the line do you stand on is what they're trying to ask you here. Because you could quit the game at this point and just pretend you went home. But,
yeah, I think
the ending.
I think the thing that... I mean, you could say, yes, absolutely, the death of one for the greater good of all is pretty cut and dry. Like, yeah, that's something that you should be doing things for the greater good. But I think where Joel took issue, and I think I see his side of it. I don't know that it's exactly right. You know, thankfully I don't have to deal with decisions like this, so I don't know what the hell I would do. But
no.
I understand where he's coming from, because he knows that he's bringing Ellie here because she is immune. He does not know that they are going to do a procedure on her that will certainly kill her and might create a cure. I think the Fireflies, or Marlene specifically, misled him on this point, because I don't know that it's 100% clear that she will certainly die for this cure. And the way that once he gets there, they're just like, thanks for the kid, bash him in the head. You know, like, yeah, he resists a little bit, but they are very much like, no, we need this. Fuck you. We're taking her. And he
Yeah.
has issues with this because Ellie is also not presented with this choice. I don't think Ellie knows that she would die if she goes through with this.
That is
Yeah, and
exactly what I was going to bring up, because you know as much, because the Fireflies are not guilt-free in this situation. Now, whether they misled Joel or not, or whether they only found out that this is
Right.
how it was going to happen, because let's face it, they probably haven't seen Ellie since she was bitten. So it's only when they do the scans and what have you in the hospital that they probably find out that her death is an inevitability in order to create this. But where I take issue is something that Marlene says, is when she's trying to convince Joel, and she says it's what Ellie would want, not
Would
does
want.
want,
Yes.
would want. She is completely in the dark about this. Whether she would or would not, you know, it's that whole...
it's irrelevant. It's projection. She's projecting that because my life isn't going to be the one being sacrificed, I just believe that I would sacrifice my life. Therefore, everybody would,
Right.
if they were
Exactly.
presented
There
with this
is
option.
there is no informed consent.
Exactly.
That bugs me.
There we go.
And
did she even sign off the doctor slips promising not to sue if the surgery went wrong?
what do you think? Oh fuck, what's his name? Lionel Hutz is surviving in this in this post-apocalyptic
There you
world.
go.
Can you
Lionel
imagine?
Hutz. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's there.
So, but no, those are great thoughts on the ending there. Like those are that absolutely wraps it up. It's like it's definitely a thinker. It's not just something that you're getting told the story. You have to really look into this. Like I obviously didn't think of things the same way that you guys did, but while you talked, I was also thinking by doing this, by what Joel did, he's also burnt any chance of him and his brother reconnecting, as the Fireflies are, or sorry, Tommy is part of the Fireflies at the electric dam there, right?
No,
I don't think
No,
there's
no, I know
Fireflies yet. I think he's formerly of the Fireflies, but
Yeah, that's
this
right.
community
He
in
was part of
Jackson.
them.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's his.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a community. All
Yeah,
right.
the community in Jackson
Never
is like
mind
an
that, never mind.
autonomous. You know, like they figured it out. They've got power. They've got food. They've got people, and they've got kind of an organization, and they've got walls. So Jackson is its own kind of autonomous little city state that is self-sufficient.
Okay.
Jackson is pretty cool,
All right,
actually. I
well-
really like that concept and that idea.
Yeah.
But we've gone over the entire story now, and we're pushing on to an hour here. Let's talk about the game itself. Let's talk about the things that we talk about normally when we talk about a game that doesn't have a story that's good.
Yeah.
Let's first off, let's talk about the graphics, because I really want to say there's something about the graphics that, if it's done in a game, impresses me. If it's done in a game on the PS3, it blows my fucking mind.
Amen.
It's the ability to have reflections and shadows.
Reflections,
You
yeah.
walk in front of a light, there's a shadow. You walk in front of that mirror, there's a reflection. Like, what's it called? RTX or whatever it's called nowadays. Does this as part of the processing. Like the PS5 has this built in. This didn't exist back when this game was first created. Having this added to it is just absolutely amazing. Showcasing what the PS3 can do when you have a company dedicated to developing
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, say what you will about whether or not the game really needed a remaster and then a remake, but goddamn, does that remake look good? Like, there were points where, I mean, obviously it's very dialogue and cutscene heavy between the fighting parts, but like even just the movement and walking around as Joel or Ellie and moving through the environments didn't feel video gamey. Like, they really took the extra time to make sure it looked like there were times I was like, am I playing a game or am I watching a movie? This looks so good.
Yeah, you immerse
Yes.
yourself into this world.
Yes, definitely. Like it has a very, very cinematic feel to the experience, which is something that Naughty Dog do so well. But even to contrast with your point, Sam, like even playing it on the PS3, and I'm pretty sure, but correct me if I'm wrong, that this was a late PS3 game, perhaps sort of towards the end of the
Yeah.
system's lifetime. But it just like, I was blown away because I didn't know what to expect, having played it on the PS4 first. But I was like, this game is just stunning. It just looks incredible. There's so much detail and so much richness to the world and the characters. Like, you are fully immersed. Like, you feel like you're in there.
Well, then I'm really glad that
No, you're absolutely right.
I'm really glad that all that
Jesus.
stuff carries over, and I'm not just like, oh, I played the remake, so I just like kind of got. I would have felt like
No,
imposter syndrome, like, oh, I just played the remake
Well,
and got the best of everything.
let me put out an example of a game that kind of ticked me off for how it was revered as this great game, but it actually went backwards from one of the developers' earlier games, and that's what's it called? Dishonored is the game that they first made, and it was the one that they made later that everybody was talking about.
Oh,
I gotta look that up.
Fucking name escapes me. It's the one where you die over and over and over again.
That's most games I play.
Yeah, but this one you're supposed to you come back to life. Anyways, I'll think of the name of the game. But anyways,
somebody's yelling at you right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
For
I know.
sure.
But somebody.
Is it Returnal?
Deathloop?
No, not Returnal.
There's
Deathloop. That's it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that was going to hurt me. Anyway, so sorry. Dishonored had all this great stuff with the phasing, the magic, the stealth kills, the way you could kill people, all this kind of stuff, and the graphics were amazing. The shadows mattered, all this good stuff, and then Deathloop it felt like you were just boxed in a generic level.
Huh.
And it was just like, why are they going backwards? Why is this developer who's done such good work I'm pretty sure it was, they were forced to go backwards because, just the way business works. But I don't know, this game just showcased that you don't need that, and it just gets more and more pretty as they re-release it 100,000 times.
Yeah, that's true. Great looking.
Actually, I had a better point, but I kind of forgot it as I rambled.
You kind of got lost in your own death loop there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna say something now. This game, I think, where it fails for me the most, and it's not that it was bad. It's just I found the gameplay kind of meh. Like you mentioned earlier, Alan, about how the environments naturally create the barriers that you can't cross, but I also found that there was points where you would have story and then you had to go inside this building or something and sneak through the clickers, and you had story on the other side, and they just rinsed and repeat that over and over again. Oh fuck, I almost paused my recording.
Jesus. Don't do that.
Anyways, yeah.
I think that it's a perfectly well-playing action game. It doesn't do necessarily anything that breaks the mold. It doesn't necessarily do anything special. I mean, you've got your creeping around, you're going from cover to cover, gunplay, there's crafting, of course, which I really do actually enjoy, finding bits and pieces around the world and using them to craft, like, jerry-rigged bombs and
upgrading your guns,
upgrading guns, health kits and stuff. Like I did get a kick out of making shivs and things like that, and it all works very, very well. If perhaps a little, not even underwhelming. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not underwhelmed. I'm just whelmed.
Maybe it felt repetitive to me. Maybe it was the stealth, get spotted, gunfight, repeat.
Maybe
kind of.
Oh man,
fighting. I don't know. It just.
I disagree.
Go ahead.
Well, maybe you got caught too often, but I also felt it was kind of a little bit slow pacing as well. It was great if they're telling a story and you're just kind of going through the environments, but I don't know. It's obviously not the thing that ruins the game, but I just find it's the weakest part of the game.
I don't know. I think you can choose to do, what you will with it. There's ways that you can, like, if you want to move through a place, there are places definitely where you have to move through stealth. But there's other spots where you can choose to either like move through stealth or you can fight. And I really enjoyed that because you kind of pick what you want to do. And usually it's like, if I feel like I'm itching to fight, I'm going to fight. And I also like the mixture of not only are you fighting humans, like I said, which I thought were a little bit tougher, but there's also infected, and then there's various stages. And I like how they, um, like obviously what it translates to is you've got different types of enemies, like you do in any game. Like these are the easy to kill ones, these are the harder to kill ones, whatever. But they've made it work within the story so that there are stage one infected that are just kind of people that are zombies, and then there's stage two where you're starting to see like they've got like fungal growths coming out of their heads and they run a little bit faster and stuff. And then there's the stage three is the clicker, which are horrifying. Their whole head is turned into a fungal bloom and they're effectively blind, but they click and echolocate, and that's fucking scary as hell. And they move creepy as shit. I mean, we're getting into visuals a little bit, but I really like how, and then the bloater is the last one where that's stage four of an infection, but it just ends up translating to the toughest enemy. And if they get anywhere in close proximity to you, it's an instant kill. They'll just rip your head off. And the animations for those are crazy.
Horrible.
Yeah, to just show like them grabbing Joel's head and just like twisting it,
pulling it apart.
Yeah, just pulling it off. They're fucking ridiculous. But then there's also the hunters, like the hunter ones, and I don't know what stage those fall into, but I think it's somewhere between like 2 and 3 or 1 and 2 or whatever. But they're like a little bit more intelligent and like peek around corners and stalk you. Or are they called stalkers? I don't know. Well, there's stalkers and then there's hunters, but yeah, those are creepy too.
I'm really glad that you brought all of that up, because I don't think we've given the shrooms enough love on the show yet. Because I would just like to, like, and we've discussed this already, in an environment where this kind of zombie media was so prevalent, especially at the time that it was released. Like, how genius was it to create these quote-unquote zombies that effectively are the exact lifestyle of lifestyle of something that actually exists in nature. And that I find terrifying, because the cordyceps exists, and every insect species or the whatever they have a specific strain of cordyceps that affects them.
Yes.
And it just makes you think, like, when I found out that this was actually a real thing, I was just like, well, thank fuck we don't actually get preyed on by this thing, because it is horrifying. And that is just an extra level of realism. It's just like, well, is this so far-fetched? I don't know.
Yeah, we'd be fucked if it made the jump to our brains or something. Like, we are probably just
some of us would be fine. There'd be no
change. Yeah. Well, you think about like the degree of whatever like conditions that certain fungus or bacteria or parasites or viruses need to attack your brain or your body. Like, we are probably just a couple of degrees shy of something like this happening.
Yeah, I think, like, for anyone listening, I think it is because our body temperature is just too high.
Yes, that's exactly, or it's just not the right temperature to be conducive to something like this. But like, man, if something were to adapt and like, we'd be fucked.
Yeah.
I think I sent you guys on Instagram. I found like a video of someone who had found some sort of a tarantula or spider that was infected with cordyceps. It looked fucking terrifying. I mean, it was dead.
It looked like this game.
Yes, it kills. It doesn't actually, like, that's the difference, is that like this infection will actually kill the insect. It doesn't really necessarily turn it into a zombie. I mean, I'm sure as while they're being affected by it, they're probably acting all weird, but like once it takes over, it just kills it and moves on. But it's like, holy fuck, does it look fucking terrifying.
Yeah, but then what is a zombie if not something that has been killed and has been reanimated by some other force? That's what the cordyceps does.
Yes.
Those tarantulas, they are dead. The fungus is moving the body to get to a better place to spread its spores.
Yeah. It basically brings it to the surface and while it's taking over, and just like plops it out so that it could spread. Oh God, it just like gives me the fucking.
It's so, genius.
Ugh. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at pictures.
All right.
I'm looking at pictures of it.
Apparently, I'm the minority in the gameplay aspect, even though you guys went on to a huge rant about the fungus. I'm gonna have mushrooms with dinner tonight now.
Don't eat cordyceps.
Brian's infected.
But it kind of relates to the gameplay, right? Because they've woven the different levels of infection or versus not infected into how you play the game. Like I found the gameplay engaging, but yeah, I could see if it's not for you, it's just not for you. But
my biggest point was it's a rinse and repeat formula. Like you do some story, then you do the same sneak through, or in your case, shoot your way through the blocked in level and then get out the next exit and start a little more of the story, and then you run into another spot where you have to repeat the same style of gameplay, and it's, I don't know, maybe I just felt boxed in all the time, because everything, like Alan said, also it puts you on a track. It's a very linear game.
There are, and I think that might be the reason why Bill's kind of neighborhood around where you encounter Bill outside of Boston is my favorite part of the game, because yes, it does kind of keep you on a track, but you can go pop in and out of different houses and stuff, and I think that's kind of where it gives you a little bit more freedom, where it's not open world, and there aren't branching paths, but you definitely can kind of explore within the track.
Yeah,
definitely. And now when I say the gameplay is the weakest part of this game, if the game is like an 11 out of 10, the gameplay is a 9 out of 10. So don't take it as I hate the gameplay. Just take it as I just don't find it as engaging as I would like it to be. It's just I just want to put that out there now before somebody comes at me and starts yelling about it's the best game of the world.
No, but
I don't think it is.
No, but I do agree with you, Brian. I do agree. I'm on your side. But I said it earlier, and it's still true.
Something I am going to talk about that I absolutely loved was how atmospherically engaging the music is, how it really sets the tone. It's built in. I don't remember any songs from this game. That's how, to me, that is really good music. Not because oh man, it should be a slapper of a song. It's because it really builds the world. It's part of it. It's something you passively absorb.
Mm-hmm.
Like listening to the soundtrack when I was doing the intro there, I think I had you, Alan, go over and pick some songs out that really said what is The Last of Us. And it's just, I was going through all the tracks, and it was just these are really good tracks that don't distract you from the overall what you're doing. But nothing there I'm going to put on my Spotify playlist.
No, because it's all very depressing.
It's very
Yeah, and the sound effects too. I'm going to go back. Sorry, I'll let you talk here in a second.
No
but
worries.
the sound effects as well. Directional sound effects. And I've been kind of learning about game engines. And one of the things is putting sound effects in specific locations. And companies have gotten really good at making directional stereo audio.
Mm-hmm.
Where it feels like it's coming from different, it's coming from a 3D environment through two speakers. But this game does that well. If you hear something coming, it sounds like it's behind you. It's going to be behind you.
Oh yeah,
it's so well done.
And I can't
100%.
remember if any sounds were coming out of the PlayStation controller, because if you're playing on a PS5, that controller emits sound, and that can be used to great effect in not only this, but not to bring up Silent Hill 2 again, but holy fuck, that ugh.
Fuck that.
All the sound coming out of that just is ugh. But to just want to give credit to the composer for the music is Argentinian classical guitar player and composer Gustavo Santaolalla. I hope I'm saying that right, but man, I mean it's masterful. The only one I can really pick out is the main theme, but that's because they also use that as the main theme for the television show. So I've heard that the most. But yeah, I mean, it's just sad but masterfully played classical guitar music, and it's so good.
Yeah.
It also fits with the theme of a post-apocalyptic world, because a guitar is still going to work.
Oh yeah.
Where you're not going to have a whole band get together and start jamming. Having a single guitar play, it adds kind of I don't want to get all philosophical, but it adds a loneliness to the song.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Because it's by itself.
It's music that one person can play.
Yeah.
I had never even considered that, but that is an incredibly insightful point.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that aspect of classical guitar music or like fingerstyle guitar is that like the guitar can kind of harmonize with itself as you're playing these chords and picking out the strings that are harmonizing with itself. So it's like it's very hard to do, but also like when it's done well, it almost sounds like there's more than one guitar playing.
True.
But
And
there's not.
to some extent, it kind of, and this is probably going to sound really stupid, but it kind of gives that sort of air of almost a sort of western, almost like one of
Mm-hmm.
those like dusty epics that it's just like, this is not a technological world. This is a very basic situation that we've all been reduced to, and it just
Right.
conjures up like that sort of feeling to it as well. But yeah, absolutely very atmospheric.
Yeah, and uh, most of the music in this game is like that. And I can't remember, like, correct me if I'm wrong if you guys paid attention, but the music kind of subtly comes in as you're playing through the level. It's not something that's always there. It's not like a Mario Brothers game where you're da 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 da.
Oh my God, could you imagine like Super Mario theme over this?
Just like, guys, like,
But
do not
what
do
I'm
not
saying,
eat the mushrooms. Do not eat the mushrooms.
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. What I'm saying is, it switches to gameplay there, and it's just not immediate. Like, I don't remember it immediately jumping into like a song in the background. You start through an area, and as you progress, the music subtly fills in, and then just fills in the background, so you're not in complete silence all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think there was spots that didn't have music, if I remember, just to add to the tension, because
Yeah.
that's something horror
100%.
games like to do.
Masterfully done.
Yeah, it's really
But,
well done.
I looked it up. Yeah, I looked it up while we were talking about the controller speaker, and I've actually found something really neat about it. And I'm just going to paraphrase it. But one of the big things in the industry nowadays is accessibility options in video games to bring more people or more access to more people to play video games. And it's something we learned about in my my course I'm doing. And Last of Us Part 1 has all those accessibility options like the PS5 remake. And one of them is a feature that plays dialogue through the PS5 DualSense controller as haptic feedback to give deaf people a way that they can feel the way a line is delivered.
Oh, come on.
So you can feel the emphasis along with the subtitles, and it kind of gives them a sense of how it's delivered. I thought that was really neat.
I love that
Genius.
technology.
Yeah, and I love that people are thinking about this now because we need more people in video games because Game Pass and PS Plus subscriptions have stagnated.
Never mind
Yeah.
that. It just we need everyone should have the opportunity to enjoy this hobby that we love so much, regardless of physical disability.
Absolutely.
Exactly. All right, we've been at this for quite a while. Alan is the guy who loves this game the most, the guy who said he wasn't going to get hooked on it again, then finished it in like 3 days. And we're gonna,
I'm not going to get hooked on it. I'm done.
Yeah, pretty much how it worked out. But Sam, I'm going to let you start with your summary and scoring of this game.
Sure.
Tell us what you thought of The Last of Us.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, the show kind of brought me a little bit more awareness to, not only this game but like the story behind it, and it's interesting, like having played it now. I wonder, did it really need to be a video game? Like it didn't really have to be. Like the story stands on its own as something that's like really really well done. This could have been. It could have been a movie, could have been a really good book, I bet. Like, I just kind of, I don't know a lot about the background of, like Neil Druckmann and Naughty Dog and everything, but I know that this has been an idea, I think, that they've had for quite some time and then finally came to fruition in kind of the late 2010 or the late aughts, early 2010s. But, like, this is one of those kind of transcendent stories that could kind of take any medium. And it's really fortunate that we got such a good video game out of this, and then also the show is fucking great too. I kind of look at it as different because obviously they do change stuff. Most things, like go check out Read Watch Play because they do kind of a breakdown of season 2 episodes, and they've done an episode of The Last of Us also that's really good. So look at that as a companion to this, and they'll talk a lot more about the show because adaptations are their specialty. But yeah, I just think that, you know, there's different ways to experience the story, and if you're a gamer, this is a really great game, and it's a great story to boot. I don't know where I was going with that. I think I kind of lost my train of thought, but I mean, just think about
Been
also,
there.
yeah. Well, think about also something I didn't necessarily mention before, but you know, those time skips. You know, there's opportunity there for Naughty Dog to either make additional games. You could make additional, you know, episodes or filler. You know, not filler. I don't want to call it filler because that implies that it's thin and bland. But I mean, like, you can fill those spaces of the time jumps. Like, you could have like a little episode of, you know, what's going on with Ellie and Joel at this point. This takes place at this point in the story, and you know what's going on over here. Who knows? Like, there's so much that you don't see. You just see like the highlights, and the highlights are great. Yeah, moral quandary, like really good. In you know, innovative way to take zombies and turn it on its head and turn it into something that's at once, you know, unique and completely terrifying. Yeah, I like the environments. Seeing the like the decay of the, you know, neighborhoods and roads and, you know, urban structure, things getting overgrown and falling apart, but still there's like so much to explore. I think I guess I'm gonna give it a 9.5, like 9.5. It's pretty close to perfect. I don't have much that I would add. I didn't think that I would like the game because I usually don't like these modern narrative style games. I usually don't care too much for the story. I think I'm more of a gameplay person, but I thought this game was the whole package. So 9.5.
Wow.
Amazing. All right. I'm going to go next because I think Alan is probably going to wrap it up nicely for us in a nice, neat little
Package.
bow. Package. I missed it. Fuck. Anyways, Naughty Dog storytelling. They're amazing at it. And I've never played a Jack and Daxter game, so I can't speak to that one. But Uncharted 2 was, or actually still is, one of my favorite games of all time, simply because of that opening scene where you're on the train climbing up the train as it falls off a cliff. This game showcases that they have improved their storytelling like to the nth degree. Really well done. I really like the story of this game, and I'm going to watch the TV show once I finally get the motivation to watch something new besides The Simpsons. For the gameplay, I was sitting here just kind of thinking, what would I do differently for the gameplay? And honestly, I can't think of a way to improve the gameplay, so I really can't dock any points from it because, you know, if I can't come up with a better idea, who am I to say this is bad? And who am I to tell all the people who love this game that the gameplay is bad? It's just not my cup of tea anymore. I don't know. I really can't even express why the gameplay just doesn't jive with me. I just think it's just not jiving with me for whatever reason. One day I'll figure it out. I was going on about the story. The story of this game is really well done, especially as we talk through it and we kind of, you know, compartmentalize the story, like how Joel's journey starts, how Joel's journey, you know, ends in the middle with him being hurt, how you take control of Ellie, how you save Ellie at the end. All that stuff put together builds this really, really immersive story where you actually learn to care about both Joel and Ellie and their relationship throughout the game, as it starts out very contentious with each other and they eventually become so close. It is literally a father-daughter relationship where, yeah, Ellie is basically the surrogate for Joel's lost daughter, and Joel is the safety blanket Ellie needs. Like, she needs to feel safe and not alone all the time, and that's what Joel provides to her. And through the journey, all the characters you meet, everybody that affects these two and helps them bond and connect. Like, that moment when Sam comes out of the room and he's infected and he jumps on Ellie, and then it's her brother who has to shoot him, and he's sitting there freaking out, and then he just takes himself out.
Yeah.
That was like emotionally impactful right there. Like that was just, what would you do? You're there to protect your brother and he gets bit and then you have to be the one to put him down. It how would you react? Like it gives you those things to think about. You'll never be in that situation, but like you don't think you could do it, and I don't know, it's just like, it's just very impactful way to make you not really sure about yourself anymore.
Yeah.
Music of this game very immersive. The sound effects in this game fit perfectly. Everything enhances the game well. The environments are beautiful. The 4 seasons you go through, the people you meet in those seasons, and how they impact the movements and the characters in the game, outstanding. I'm gonna go with Sam. I'm gonna give this one a 9.5.
Woo.
Wow.
That's higher than I thought you would go.
Yeah, I actually.
Did you talk yourself into it?
I actually held my. No, I didn't talk myself into it. I actually held my thoughts back on this because the person who got me to play this game, I don't think I ever told him how I actually felt about it. So I was kind of holding it back from when we eventually did this episode. So I hope he's listening, and I hope he realizes that I actually did enjoy this game as much as I will never publicly admit it outside of this podcast.
Which is about as public as you can get.
That anyone can listen to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Join our Patreon to see how I really feel about it.
There you go.
Alan, do you want to wrap this whole thing up?
I'll bring us home. The reason that this game is held in such high regard is because of Joel. It's because of Ellie. It's because of all the characters. It's because of the world building, the story that is being told. I mean, what Naughty Dog managed to do is to take what was admittedly becoming a sort of tired and overabundant genre of the zombie story and make it their own. And the best zombie stories in history have always used the creatures as more of a facilitator to tell a more human story, because that is what is interesting. That is what is compelling. It's less about the monster of the week. It's less about, the fungus. It's what happens to human beings when they are put in a situation like this. How does society break down? What is the worst of humanity and what is the best of humanity? And you get kind of all of that in a game like this. Now, like as we've said, the gameplay is fine. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing that we haven't seen before. But it is perfectly serviceable, and keeps you engaged so that you want to find the next story beat. I think this game is incredibly well paced. It tells a very natural and organic story. I like the crafting elements. I like the music. It all just blends together to create a lived-in, sad and mournful world that you just want to see how these characters you've come to really care for survive. And where Sam was talking about, this story could have been anything, while I do agree, I think that the agency that a video game allows you to actually be the one, again, pulling that trigger, making those decisions, I think that's what makes it stick with you more, because you are basically, you are playing Joel. Joel is your avatar for this story, and I think by the time we get to the end of the game, you realize that you haven't beaten, you haven't won The Last of Us. You've just survived it.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really feel very good for it by the end, and that's what sticks with you. Just the harshness of this story. I did not know we were going to go. Now, contrary to popular belief, like, this is not one of my favourite games of all time. It might not even be in the top 5, but fuck me, it is an incredible it is an incredible cinematic experience that I think if you just play, it will last with you, as it's last with us. Last of Us. I don't know.
I like that.
I feel like fuck. I feel like I have to like. I was gonna go for a 9, but hearing you guys like bump it up, fuck it. All right, I'll agree with you. Why not? I'll go 9.5. Do you know what? I'm gonna give it an extra 0.5 simply for the fact that this is the game that made Sam famous.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Oh, that's true.
yeah, there is an Easter egg in the Pittsburgh area where you can find a replica of the Office from the TV show, and you can find my Instagram reel on that, which is actually, interestingly enough, has been kind of on the uptick again. I get like tons of notifications off that still because the show it's like trending again, so it popped back up.
There you go. Oh god.
Why Sam is internet famous.
Internet
Yes.
famous.
All right,
But I guess like one last quick thing. There are a lot of, and I think they added stuff for the remaster and the remake, but there's a lot of fun Easter eggs just sprinkled throughout. So yes, it is on a track, but like part of what's enjoyable about the game is that you can kind of like go through and see little nods to things, and like in the dorms at Colorado, you can see like there's a couple of rooms that have a bunch of Naughty Dog and PlayStation stuff. Like there's PS3s, there's Jack and Daxter posters, there's like game boxes and stuff. Like it's just the attention to detail is incredible.
You know, this game came out so close to the PS4, it would have been kind of neat if they actually snuck some PS4s in there.
Oh yeah, like before they came out, like how did this? They'd be like, it'd be like a Mario like game with like, oh, check out this Switch 2. I'd be like, oh, I can't have one.
Yeah.
For reasons.
Because the world ended.
Right.
Oh, you didn't get a Switch 2? Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Shame.
yeah.
Anyways, that's going to do it for another episode of The Last of Us. Sam, where can they find us on social medias and Patreon?
Well, we have a one-stop shop. If you go to linktree/Retrotopia, linktr.ee/Retrotopia, you'll find all of the socials, our storefront with TeePublic, where you can get some fun merch, and Discord, which is free to everyone, and our Patreon, which is also free. And has a paid tier. So whatever you choose, choose your own adventure. But you can find all of that at Linktree. I don't know what else.
Awesome. All right. So next, what else? Oh, Patreon. You got to do Patreon.
Oh yeah, that's in the Linktree. But yeah, everyone join the
voice.
Patreon. It's fun. We do all kinds of fun stuff over there. Polls. You can comment on the show. You can comment on Retro Bites. You can engage with us. Like there's a lot of ways to get in contact with us. So. Also, we don't say this often, but rate and review 5 stars. Give us 5 stars. If you're not going to give us 5 stars, just contact us and give us some constructive feedback. Tell us how we can do better.
Love it.
We do listen.
Love it.
All right. Coming up next week, I'm going to be going solo so that Sam can have a little extra time to finish Fire Emblem, a big undertaking, and we need to give a little buffer now and then. That's what the 5x5s are for. But this time, I'm going solo, and I'm going to rank the Final Fantasy games from 1 to 16. Not the side games, just the main number games. I've played them all enough that I can have an opinion on them. I finished more than half them. Probably about 80% of them I finished, minus the MMOs. But yeah, that'll be coming up next week and the week after that. We're hoping to get out the Fire Emblem episode. And we have Professor Layton coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And then on our list of, our short list of games, I think we might pick a fighting game, a game we haven't actually, or a genre we haven't covered yet.
Sounds good.
Because we got Mortal Kombat on the list.
Hey, good times.
All right, who wants to click us out of here?
Oh, I love it. I'll take this one. Thanks for listening, everyone, and tune in next week, because we'll be here. I promise you, you have not heard The Last of Us.